We've all played tug of war, whether it was at your annual block party, company picnic, or just with a bunch of friends. But you ever played tug of war with an animal whose ancestors used to play for food? It could be anything from a piece of rope to a branch to a piece of clothing. It does not matter to my dog. Play this enough, and it'll not only be a workout for the dog, but for your forearms as well. Bowser, my 10-month-old rescue dog, takes after his ancestors as being a fierce warrior, while at the same time being the biggest lap dog you'll ever see. He's obviously a very honorable dog. Bowser had a rough start to life, but has since pushed past his early hardships and has been a bright light in my family's life. Bowser has only been in my family for 10 months, but feels like he's been with us for an eternity. In this speech, I will talk about Bowser's early life, as well as the time we have spent together. Bowser's early life was filled with struggle and hardships for any living being to go through. It started off being born in a parking lot in the rural foothills of Tennessee. His litter, as well as his mother, were found several days later by police and taken in. Him and his family were shipped around week to week, Humane Society to shelter to rescue center, until one day he ended up at the Hinsdale Humane Society. While at the Humane Society, he saw his brothers and sisters adopted by happy, loving families, until it was just his mother and himself. He was considered the runt of the litter. He was indeed tiny, but a big ball of energy. When his mother was adopted, he was alone for a week all by himself, that big ball of energy growing larger and larger. Till one day, my mom found a picture of him on the internet. We all instantly fell in love with him, and the next day, we visited him at the Humane Society. When we first walked in, we saw him, and he saw us. We started playing together, and it was like we were his own brothers and sisters. It was a mutual connection. Love at first sight. Next, I'll talk about all the great times we've had so far. Since the day we got Bowser, we have had a blast. From the dog park to the backyard and many miscellaneous adventures. The fun all started with the stairs, his first challenge. Seeing his little body trying to tackle the stairs was one of the funniest things that I've ever seen. Going up 4 or 5 steps and tumbling back down to the ground. Until just 4 hours later, after doing it over and over again, he finally accomplished his goal and started running up those steps like nobody's business. Our walks have taken us on many adventures, through the woods, to parks, and places neither myself or him have ever seen before. He has taken me to places that I thought I would never see, and caused me to open my eyes to what is really around me at all times. At times, Bowser can be quite mischievous, and finds things to rip apart. For instance, the Wi-Fi cable on the side of my house. He chewed through that like a chew toy, but ended up not being a chew toy. My mom didn't like that very much. As well as digging many holes in both the front and backyard, scavenging for anything he could find, and digging a shelter for himself like his ancestors once did. Tying in also to his ancestry, Bowser loves a good game of tug of war. To replicate the fight for food, Bowser plays tug of war. Over the months, it went from little things such as a sock or a piece of clothing he found on the ground, to one of his toys, to now one of his big branches we find on walks, or a piece of rope we assign for him. I played tug of war with the whole team, but one-on-one with an animal, thinking it's a fight for food, is one of the hardest things a game you can ever play. Bowser is an amazing dog that will comfort you when you're down and take you places you've never seen before. He is truly an honorable animal. First, I talked about his early struggles that he had overcome. Secondly, I talked about how many adventures we have gone on and many things we plan to do, just like his ancestors once did. Bowser is the best. I have learned lots from him in only our short time together, but I plan on years ahead to go places neither himself or I have ever dreamed of going before.